Hi, today I'm going to talk about my big score of blue huckleberries that I got from a big property owner in Jefferson County. He has this sea of blue huckleberries on his land. He removes them with his tractor. Maybe they're kind of aggressive over there. And it's quite interesting because his property is in full sun, and blue huckleberries are famous for being shade loving. If you try to get a blue huckleberry at a nursery, they're typically really small and they take forever to grow. If you get them from a native plant salvage, you can get them bigger, but even still not huge, it's still $40. Fortunately, he said he doesn't care for them. I could take as many as I want. He said the bears love them. The bears come through and they eat them, but there's plenty left over for the bears. This is what it looks like. This is my initial score. I might go back. I have lots of property that I can cover. Much rather cover them with blue huckleberries than Himalayan blackberries. Right now they're sitting in my wood chips and they're kind of buried. This one's a huge one. I'm going to be taking them out one by one, and I thought of a place to put them where I can do some erosion control. So I have removed the first one that's been sitting in a pile, and I've never volunteered at a plant salvage, so I'm not sure how they do this from development areas to preserve the native plants, because look at it, it's got like a giant root, and who knows how much of this has to be preserved before it can support this growth. There are these little weeds on it too, which I don't really care about. These are just like cat's ears. We'll see if this lives. And what I'm seeing here is lateral roots. So I see this as good potential for a slope stabilizer. So I'm going to carry it to this area that I'm thinking about. So here is a pathway. Here is a slope. It is north facing. You see the sun is right there. So there's the ground. You see the angle there. And I'm going to take you for a walk into the forest outside my property, where I also see them. So they do grow closer to my house. I didn't have to go to Jefferson County, but I'm not going to steal a plant from the forest. I mean, I could forage out there. Not to mention it's probably illegal. If you go to a property and you see someone who doesn't care about them, or he's removing them anyway, then you might as well you're creating your own salvage project and take them and bring them to your property. So here's the trail from my neighbor's property. I'm going to be going into the Capitol Forest. They don't mind that I cut through their property. It's beautiful. It's supposed to be 57 degrees today. Look at that, Western Washington, early March. All they need, these kinds of berry shrubs, is just a little bit of sun and they will fruit. There's plenty of sun here, but it's not going to be scorching since it's a north-facing slope. And it's along a pathway, so you can walk by, and maybe as you're walking by, you can pick things. If I have plants that are deer resistant, I try to put them outside my fence first, since I have plenty of things that I'd want inside my fence. And this is a prime candidate for outside the fence. I saw the lateral roots, nice thicket forming, stabilizing, slow growing, at least here. So if you come to a forest like this and you just get bored of the gravel and the trees and you're just hating it, you can easily veer off the path and find some goodies. So this is a pearly everlasting. This is where I come to forage for my blue huckleberries. this ginormous shrub right here. Just imagine how huge the root is underneath there. But there are no berries left. This was filled with berries in the fall. And of course the wildlife will come and eat them if you don't get them fast enough. But I love this. No thorns. And lots of berries. They're small, but very nutritious. If you like that dark anthocyanin kind of like berry, you get that in spades here. It's evergreen, obviously. It's ornamental, because it's glossy. It's green leaves with some purplish tint. These nice flowers. And right next to it is a red huckleberry. So you can see the difference. So one is evergreen and one is not. And when the red huckleberry gets full sun like this, the stems are redder, kind of matching the buds. So this could be a blue versus red huckleberry kind of winter twig ID video, but people come to my channel for the psilocybin stuff. My least popular videos are the winter twig ID. So here's, a smaller blue huckleberry. So these are just like scattered throughout this forest here. Also notice how big it gets in full sun, contrary to what the internet says. Maybe that's still considered short. Maybe the ones in full sun actually get taller than that. So I don't know. Okay, so I have finished planting 3 of the huckleberries because of this. All of the weeding that I have to do before I can plant one. Because my fenced area is over there, and I determined that the huckleberries are best outside the fence because they're deer resistant and they will stabilize my slope right here quite nicely. This happens to be an area that is low priority, or has been low priority, for managing weeds. And also on the slopes, I don't like removing weeds that are holding up the slope until I can replace them with another plant. So I removed most of the trailing blackberry here, and I also was taking out thimbles and some blackcaps. There's a little Himalayan tip that I pulled out, and I still have to get that one out. And but then I got these 2, and then I chipped them. You can see how nice it looks and how nicer it'll look when the rest of it is weeded and chipped. And I've been meaning to actually tackle this area anyway, so it was a good excuse to come and start picking away at it. When you're doing a permaculture style farming, gardening, the key is you do little bits at a time, or else you will drive yourself mad. So for me, part of staying sane is saying, okay, today I'm only going to do 2 buckets of vines and then I'm done. Unless there's a day where I know, like, I want to be out here all day and I really want to make a dent in the blackberry vines, then if I tell myself, okay, today I'm going to do 4 buckets, then that's different. But something like this, I will do 2 buckets of vines and then that's it for the day. So I was able to plant 3 of the bushes, and I was tempted also to just like put them in the line and get them all in there. But I thought, we know how big these are going to get. It's going to fill out because we saw how they looked in the Capitol Forest. And it's better to just go slower. And you see this slope really needs it a lot more. It's much more steeper. So made sure there's a nice thick root on that one, and I wedged it in there real good. You still see all the kind of the brambles all around it. So it's just, piecemeal you know, you tackle it and then eventually it all looks like that. Kind of like the area inside my fence looks really nice. So here you see more brambles, 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 and other things that I have put in over here. You know, there's a gumi, there's some elderberries there, some lavender, anything that I thought was deer resistant. And there's more things I got to take out right here at the edge. Maple here. These are maple trees trying to be big, and I don't want them there. And then what's also neat though is like you make little discoveries. So, you know, I take out my blackberries, the thimbleberries, most of the black caps. I might keep something like this, just give them a haircut and go, okay, I'll keep them there for a bit so I can like walk by and pick some lovely black caps. But you also see things that you want to keep, right? So whenever I see an alder these days, I consider keeping them for mushroom logs and to fix nitrogen. And so this one was like further, you can see that I've cut it before and these they sprout back. And so now I'm kind of thinking of keeping him there because he's far enough away from the trail, and you know, he can fix nitrogen for the tree that I put in here. It's a cultivar hawthorn, and then there's one of the huckleberries back there. But I also found this salmonberry, so I keep my salmonberries. I don't see any Oregon grape right now, but Oregon grape is also another famous slope stabilizer. So you want to keep and it's slow growing. Like one reason why I take out the thimbles is because they're really aggressive here, and I don't want a huge thicket of thimbleberry. So I keep my salal. Those are also slow. There's some salal up there. Keep salal. I keep Oregon grape. I'll keep my ferns if I can. And I like these huckleberries. I like the red ones too. There's one over there, but I'm not gonna go over there right now. So I keep both huckleberries. Yes, so keep the salmonberry, and then maybe some black caps, but just if they're nicely placed. And same with the alders. But I gotta take out all these maples. They've gotten to this level where I'm gonna need a pickaxe for that. And then I still need to trim these black caps because you can see here, this is what they do. They like to bend over and cut you as you walk by. So yeah, so that was interesting. Oh, and I also saw, I almost pulled this guy out, but I saw a little elderberry and I just broke it. No, this is a dead part. You see how he's leafing out? So you make cute little discoveries, keeping that guy. But been removing these little thimbles right here. But I'm not there yet. I'm gonna do that later. Got my 2 buckets of vines. That's it for the day. I'm going in, and I'll see you next time. Okay, hold on. I think this is gonna be funny. I've always wanted to do this. You know, people that film themselves running, and then you're like, well, don't you just have to come back and get your camera? Isn't that silly?